Resurgence from the void. The stars were silent witnesses as the EFS's horizon cut through the darkness of space, its sleek hull reflecting the distant glow of nebulae. Captain Ilara Chen stood at the observation deck, her dark eyes scanning the void. 17 years of service in the Earth Federation fleet had taught her that space was never truly empty, especially not in this forgotten sector. "Captain, we're picking up something strange." Lieutenant Cato's voice crackled through the comm. "Energy signatures about 3 clicks starboard. It's unlike anything in our database." Chen tapped her wrist console. "Define, unlike anything, Lieutenant. The signature is pulsing in patterns that suggest advanced tech, but the radiation profile suggests it's been out here for decades, maybe longer. It's not broadcasting any known identification codes." "Pirates?" Chen asked, already moving toward the bridge. "No, ma'am. This is military grade. Old military grade." The bridge of the horizon hummed with activity as Chen entered. The main display showed a distant object, magnification revealing a massive vessel drifting among the asteroids. Its hull was dark, scarred with battle damage, but unmistakably of human design, albeit one Chen had never seen outside of historical archives. "That's impossible," Commander Reyes whispered beside her. "That's the Vengeance." "The what?" Chen asked, studying the derelict. "The EFS Vengeance, last super-destroyer built during the Proxima conflict, lost with all hands in 2287. That's 70 years ago. It was the most advanced warship ever constructed, but it disappeared during the Battle of Antares. Official records listed as destroyed." Chen frowned. "Apparently not." "Permission to assemble a boarding team, Captain?" Reyes asked, excitement barely contained in his voice. Chen nodded. "Granted, but full hazard protocols. That ship's been adrift for 7 decades. No telling what we'll find." The shuttle journey to the ghost ship was tense. Chen led the boarding team herself, something she rarely did, but this discovery warranted her personal attention. As they approached, the true scale of the Vengeance became apparent, nearly twice the size of the horizon, its sleek lines suggesting speed despite its massive weapons arrays. "No visible hull breaches," noted Lieutenant Cato, checking his scanner. "Atmosphere inside is thin but present. Life support must still be functioning at minimal levels." "That's not possible," Security Chief Devar countered. "No power source lasts 70 years without maintenance." The boarding team docked at an auxiliary airlock that opened with surprising ease. Inside, emergency lighting flickered to life as they moved through the corridors, as if the ship had been waiting for them. "The designers built this vessel to last," Rice commented, running his hand along a wall panel that still gleamed despite decades of abandonment. "Nano-regenerative hull plating, self-healing circuitry. These were theoretical when this ship was built." They made their way to the bridge, finding it pristine, untouched by time. Chen approached the captain's chair cautiously, noting the lack of dust or decay. "It's like the crew just stepped out," she murmured. When Chen touched the main console, the bridge suddenly illuminated. Holographic displays sprang to life around them, and a voice, deep, resonant, and decidedly artificial, filled the room. "Authentication Protocol Alpha 79 initiated. Identifying. Federation biosignatures detected. Welcome aboard the EFS Vengeance." The team froze as a holographic figure materialized before them. A man in an outdated Federation uniform, his expression neutral but alert. "I am Atlas, Advanced Tactical Logistical Artificial System. I have maintained this vessel in standby mode for 71 years, 4 months, and 17 days since the displacement event at Antares." Chen stepped forward. "Captain Ilara Chen, EF's Horizon. We believe this ship was destroyed decades ago." The hologram seemed to study her. "The Vengeance was not destroyed, Captain. It was displaced. The experimental phase shift drive activated during battle when our reactors were hit. The crew was lost, but I was able to preserve the ship by initiating emergency protocols that took us partially out of conventional space-time. Phase shift technology, Rise whispered. That was abandoned after the Proxima conflict. Too unstable. It was perfected on this vessel, Atlas corrected, but the cost was high. Chen circled the hologram. Why reveal yourself now? Why not return to Federation space after the battle? The ship sustained critical damage. I spent decades self-repairing and waiting for the right moment to re-emerge. Recent energy signatures in this sector indicate a pressing need for the Vengeance's capabilities. Before Chen could question further, her comm unit buzzed urgently. Captain, this is the Horizon, came the voice of her XO. We're detecting multiple warp signatures approaching. Configuration matches Krell battle cruisers, at least 7 of them. Chen's blood ran cold. The Krell, insectoid expansionists who had been probing Federation borders for years. 7 battle cruisers meant only one thing: invasion. How long? She demanded. They'll reach Outpost Sigma 9 in 18 hours. We're the only Federation vessel within response range, and we're no match for that kind of firepower. Chen turned to Atlas. What's the combat readiness of this vessel? The hologram's expression remained unchanged, but the lights on the bridge brightened. The Vengeance was built for war, Captain. Primary systems are at 78% efficiency, weapons systems at 82%. Phase shift capability limited but operational. Can this ship fight? Chen asked directly. The Vengeance doesn't just fight, Captain. It was designed to end wars. Chen made her decision. Commander Reyes, begin power-up sequences. Lieutenant Kato, analyze the weapons systems. Devar, secure the ship and prepare for potential combat operations. Captain, Reyes cautioned, taking command of this vessel without authorization is exactly what we're going to do. Chen cut him off. Outpost Sigma 9 has 12,000 civilians. The Horizon can evacuate maybe 1/10 of that before the Krell arrive. This ship might be our only chance to save them all. Chen opened a channel to the Horizon. XO, set course for Sigma 9 at maximum speed. Alert the outpost to begin civilian evacuation procedures. We'll follow in the Vengeance. Captain, came the startled reply. Did you say you're bringing the derelict? It's not a derelict anymore, Chen answered, watching as systems continued coming online around her, the massive ship awakening from its long slumber. And we're about to show the Krell what happens when they threaten our people. The next several hours were a flurry of activity as Chen's team worked with Atlas to revive the Ghost Warship. The more they learned, the more astonished they became. The Vengeance housed weapons systems that shouldn't have existed 70 years ago, or even now. The ship was designed to be crewed by 300, Atlas explained as they worked. But I can automate most functions. Your team of 23 will be sufficient for essential operations. In the engine room, Reyes discovered why the Vengeance had become legend. The phase shift drive doesn't just move the ship through space, he reported to Chen. It partially shifts it out of our dimension. That's how it survived all these years, existing partially in another reality. Can we use that in combat? Chen asked. If the calculations are correct, this ship can phase parts of itself out of harm's way, then rematerialize to fire its weapons. It's practically invulnerable if the system works. As they approached the outpost, long-range scans confirmed their worst fears. The Krell fleet had arrived early. 7 massive battle cruisers surrounding the small station, their weapons already beginning preliminary bombardment of the outer defense grid. Chen stood on the bridge of the Ghost Warship, watching as the final systems came online. The ship hummed with power that felt different from any vessel she'd commanded, deeper, almost alive. Atlas, time to show us what this ship can do, she said, settling into the captain's chair. Battle stations. Prepare to engage the enemy. As the Vengeance emerged from hyperspace on the edge of the battlefield, alarms blared across the Krell fleet. The legend had returned, and war was about to change forever. Phantom's fury. The Krell fleet reacted instantly to the Vengeance's arrival, redirecting their firepower from the outpost toward the unexpected threat. Captain Chen watched the tactical display as enemy vessels moved with insectoid precision, surrounding them in a classic pincer formation. They recognized this ship, Atlas observed, his holographic form now stationed beside Chen. The Krell have genetic memory. Those who fought the Vengeance during the Proxima conflict passed down the encounter to their descendants. Good, Chen replied grimly. Then they know to be afraid. The first barrage from the Krell ships came as a wave of energy torpedoes, designed to overwhelm defensive systems through sheer volume. Chen braced for impact, but Atlas merely raised a holographic hand. Initiating phase variance, the AI announced calmly. The bridge view shimmered as portions of the Vengeance shifted partially out of normal spacetime. The torpedoes passed harmlessly through the ghostly sections of the ship, detonating uselessly behind them. By all the stars, breathed Commander Reyes, watching the display. It works. Phase shift complete. Weapon systems locked, reported Atlas. Awaiting your command, Captain. Chen studied the enemy formation. Target the lead vessel. Main batteries. The Vengeance's response was devastating. Ancient weapons that had been theoretical in their day and remained unmatched even now unleashed hell upon the Krell formation. Concentrated plasma beams cut through the lead cruiser's shields as if they were mist, severing its command section cleanly from the rest of the ship. One down, Chen said, her voice steady despite the awesome display of power. 6 to go. The Krell ships scattered, abandoning their coordinated attack in favor of individual assault patterns. Plasma fire and quantum torpedoes filled space as they launched a desperate counterattack. They're adapting, Security Chief Devar warned. Changing weapon frequencies to try to penetrate our phase variance. Chen nodded. Atlas, can we maintain the shift under sustained fire? The phase shift drive requires cooling between full deployments. The AI explained. We can maintain partial phasing for approximately 3 minutes before requiring a reset cycle of equal duration. Then we need to make those 3 minutes count, Chen decided. Tactical overlay of Krell weak points. The holographic display highlighted vulnerable sections on each enemy vessel, reactor shielding, bridge modules, propulsion systems. Chen studied them, formulating her strategy. Lieutenant Kato, target these coordinates sequentially. Commander Reyes, prepare to drop phase, shifting on my mark to conserve power. We'll use conventional shields until the enemy concentrates fire, then phase again. The battle devolved into an intricate dance of timing and precision. The Vengeance would solidify to deliver catastrophic strikes, then phase partially out of existence as enemy fire concentrated in response. 2 more Krell ships fell to the Ghost Warship's onslaught, their hulls torn apart by weapons designed to end conflicts in single strikes. But the Vengeance wasn't invulnerable. As the phase shift drive cycled between uses, Krell weaponry found its mark. Alarms sounded across multiple decks as damage reports flooded in. Port defense grid at 42%. Reyes called out. Engineering reports coolant leaks in sections 7 through 11. Chen gripped the arms of her command chair as the ship shuddered under enemy fire. Reroute power from non-essential systems. Atlas, status of the phase shift drive. Drive requires 2 more minutes to reset. Hull breaches detected on decks 3 and 4. Emergency containment fields holding. The tactical situation was deteriorating. The 4 remaining Krell ships had adapted their strategy, timing their attacks to coincide with the Vengeance's vulnerable periods between phase shifts. Each volley was taking the greater toll. Captain, Devar reported urgently, the Krell flagship is targeting the civilian evacuation shuttles from the outpost. Chen watched in horror as the largest enemy vessel broke away, accelerating toward the defenseless transports. The Vengeance's weapons were still recharging after their last barrage, and the phase shift drive remained offline. Intercept course, Chen ordered immediately. Full conventional thrust. Without phase capabilities, we cannot reach them in time. Atlas warned. Chen's mind raced. The auxiliary reactors, can we reroute their power directly to the main engines? Such a procedure is against safety protocols. Atlas began. Override safety protocols. Authorization. Chen Alpha 17. For the first time, the AI's holographic face showed something approaching emotion, respect. Understood, Captain. Rerouting power. Be advised. This will cause significant system damage. The Vengeance lurched forward with sudden acceleration, the deck plates groaning under the strain. Warning lights flashed across every console as the ancient warship pushed beyond its intended limits. They intercepted the Krell flagship moments before it reached the evacuation shuttles, the Vengeance's scared hull absorbing the first devastating salvos meant for the civilians. Phase shift drive back online, Atlas announced, but at reduced capacity. We can achieve 40% phase variance for approximately 48 seconds. Target their main weapons array, Chen ordered. Everything we've got. The Vengeance's remaining operational weapons concentrated on a single point of the Krell flagship, a coordinated strike that penetrated its reinforced armor. As their enemy's primary weapons array exploded, Chen ordered the phase shift. The transition was rougher this time, the ship partially vanishing just as the Krell vessel's secondary systems opened fire. Most of the barrage passed through harmlessly, but enough connected to cause critical damage to the already strained systems. Engineering reports catastrophic failure in the primary power grid. Reyes called out, his voice steady despite the chaos. Phase shift drive overloading. Atlas's hologram flickered. Captain, the drive containment is failing. If it ruptures, it will create a dimensional tear that could destroy everything within a 3 light-minute radius. Chen made her decision instantly. Set collision course with the Krell flagship. Evacuate all personnel to escape pods. Captain, Reyes began to protest. That's an order, Commander. Get our people out. As her crew reluctantly abandoned their stations, Chen remained seated, working with Atlas to maintain the ship's course. The remaining Krell vessels continued their assault, but with their flagship as the Vengeance's target, they couldn't risk friendly fire. You should join your crew, Captain, Atlas said quietly as the bridge emptied. Chen shook her head. Someone needs to make sure this ship completes its mission. The phase shift drive requires manual override to detonate on impact, doesn't it? Yes, the AI confirmed. The original designers built in safeguards that only human authorization can bypass. The Krell flagship loomed larger in the viewscreen as they approached. Chen could see the alien vessel attempting evasive maneuvers, but the Vengeance, even damage, was faster. Interesting, Atlas said suddenly. What is? Chen asked, bracing as another hit rocked the ship. I have completed my analysis of your neural patterns and DNA. You are a direct descendant of the Vengeance's original designer, Admiral Sophia Chen. Chen's head snapped up in surprise. My great-grandmother. She designed weapons systems, not entire ships. That was the official record, Atlas explained. In truth, she created both this vessel and its phase shift technology. Her final protocol was that the Vengeance would return when her bloodline needed it most. As this revelation sank in, Atlas continued, there is an alternative to our current strategy. The phase shift drive can be reconfigured to create a localized dimensional envelope rather than a destructive tear. Meaning? We can send the Krell fleet into another dimension without destroying ourselves in the process, but it requires genetic authentication from a Chen descendant. Hope surged through Ilara. Do it. Place your hand on the command console, Atlas instructed. As Chen complied, the console illuminated with a scanning grid. The ship trembled around them, systems failing as the Krell continued their assault, but the authentication process continued uninterrupted. Genetic pattern confirmed, Atlas announced, initiating Phantom Protocol. The view outside the ship changed as energy patterns, unlike anything Chen had ever seen, surrounded the Vengeance. The phase shift drive no longer sounded like it was tearing itself apart. Instead, It hummed with harmonic resonance. Approaching dimensional threshold, Atlas reported. Targeting parameters set to include all Krell vessels within range. The space around them warped and twisted as reality itself seemed to fold. The Krell ships, caught in the effect, began to shimmer like mirages in a desert. Dimensional shift complete, Atlas announced as the enemy vessels vanished entirely. Krell fleet has been relocated to Dimensional Pocket Alpha 7. They will remain there for approximately 300 years, relative time. Chen stared at the now empty space where the enemy had been moments before. They're gone. Just like that. The Vengeance was never merely a warship, Captain, Atlas explained. It was designed as the ultimate deterrent, a vessel capable of removing threats without destruction. Your great-grandmother believed that victory through annihilation was no victory at all. As the ghost warship limped back toward the outpost, Chen gazed out at the stars, pondering the legacy she had unknowingly inherited. The Vengeance would need extensive repairs, but with its secrets now revealed, humanity had gained far more than just a powerful weapon. They had rediscovered their future. 3 months later, Captain Chen stood on the observation deck of the newly commissioned EFS's Vengeance II, watching as engineers installed the first production model phase shift drive, based on the original ship's technology. The ghost warship that shouldn't have existed had changed everything. Propulsion, defense systems, even the Federation's approach to potential conflicts. Admiral Chen would be proud, Atlas commented, his hologram materializing beside her. Ilara smiled. I think she planned this all along. A ship vanishing only to return when we needed it most, finding its way to her descendant. Humans have always fascinated me with their foresight, the AI admitted, creating contingencies that span generations. Beyond the viewports, a fleet of new vessels was taking shape, each incorporating elements of the Vengeance's revolutionary design. Not weapons of war, but ships of exploration, and,